My brothers have risen up against me. No doubt Bartholomew has been planning this for some time, but I know not how he convinced Jonathan to join him in his misguided ambitions. Sadly, I have no choice but to take up arms against my own siblings. I'm glad only that our father is not alive to see his sons turn on each other like dogs squabbling over scraps. I will put down this rebellion and ensure that after this, no one will question my right to rule these lands. Hello Wanderers, welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series following the House of Drengot, and more specifically, Duke Jordan of Capua, who has now taken over for his father, Duke Richard, after he passed away of old age. Before we jump into the events of the episode, I just want to thank you guys once again for all the continued support, all of the comments and the likes and new subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and you really are giving me a ton of motivation to continue playing this and making more videos. I'm just really enjoying the whole process, and I hope that you guys will continue to enjoy the series and future series to come. But I'm sure you guys all want to get into the events of the episode, so why don't we just get right into it. I'm sure you remember in the last episode, our brothers, Bartholomew specifically, started a rebellion against us in order to put himself on the throne of Capua, claiming divine right somehow, even though he is the youngest brother. Well, we obviously did not accept. Somehow Bartholomew convinced Jonathan, our middle brother, to join along with him. I'm not sure how. I think that after Jonathan's imprisonment in North Africa, just a few years ago, things have kind of changed with him, and I think that's what allowed Bartholomew to manipulate him into joining this war. However, we can't allow that to sway us, not at the moment. We need to prepare for battle, and we need to put down this rebellion. We need all of our knights ready to go. We are going to allow Richard to... forgetting my cousin's names, there's too many of them. And Pandolf, I believe, we will allow them to join in the forces here. We're going to raise our armies. Now, you may be wondering why I am not calling in our new ally, Count Roger of Messina. And that is because this is a war between brothers. And in a war between brothers, you don't bring outside forces in. No, you handle this matter yourself. Otherwise, that would be seen as a sign of weakness, a weakness that Duke Jordan cannot allow. So Duke Jordan puts on his arms and armor. I mean, he's already got his arms, but he's going to put some armor on those arms. And speaking of which, we did have a comment in the last episode asking if we could suit Jordan up in a little bit of better armor, perhaps some plate mail. And those of you who know your history will realize that at this time period that we are currently in the game, full plate armor like you would see in some games or D&D, things like that, was not actually available. It was invented more in the 14th and 15th century. But we have this cool tabard plate armor here that I think looks pretty neat and doesn't seem to break the immersion too much. It looks like something that might have been available in the time. So we're going to wear our brand new suit of armor as we raise our armies to go to battle here against our brothers. So we're just going to slow time down a little bit. So our armies are all raised, and we're actually going to advance very quickly towards our brothers' positions here. If we're lucky, we may catch the forces of Bartholomew before they've fully raised and gathered up here with Jonathan's forces. That would be the ideal situation. We'll see if we're fast enough to get in there. It looks like we might be. Yeah, so we moved in just quick enough, and we should be able to catch the forces here. We'll see if Jonathan sends his troops in to reinforce. No. Jonathan's retreating into the mountains. Interesting choice, Jonathan. All right, so the battle goes on here. We are going up against Theocharistos, an ugly man, a Greek Orthodox. Well, we'll see if we can make him a little uglier with perhaps a new scar or two. So with our advantage in the retinues and our advantage with the knights, we do seem to have pretty much laid waste to Bartholomew's army before he could even muster it. Basically, I'm imagining that he was calling in his banners when he sent that letter to us to inform us that he was going to lay claim to our throne. But I think he somewhat underestimated how quickly Duke Jordan could marshal his men and prepare. And I think we caught them in their mustering grounds outside of Capua or Napoli here before they could even prepare themselves. So that's how we were able to crush them so easily. And now Jonathan heads to the mountains. We could move into Capua here, but we would take some attrition damage. So I think we're going to see if we can move up and catch him into the mountains here. There we go. So we avoid the attrition. He will get the defending in the mountains bonus, but that won't really help him that much. Is Jonathan, I should say, sorry. Is Jonathan leading this army? He is leading it. So we're going to go head to head with Jonathan. And we've fought alongside Jonathan many times before. As you guys remember, in all of the battles here, when the Tuscans invaded us, when we were, defending Sicily for Christendom, even the battles in North Africa, we fought alongside Jordan in every one of those. The two brothers were fighting with their father, sometimes leading the army, fighting side by side. We're both blade masters. Oh, actually, this isn't actually Jonathan. Oh, interesting. Jonathan stayed behind and left his son in charge of the army. I don't think we knew this at the time. I think we thought that it was Jonathan leading the army himself, but it was Jonathan Jr., JJ, leading the army here. All right, well, unfortunately for him, he was not. He's just a 19-year-old kid practically. There's no way he would be able to stand up to the forces of Duke Jordan here. And he does not. As you can see there, we handily crushed his army. It looks like they're going to try to meet up over here. That should be fine. We will be able to... Oh, yeah, it looks like Jonathan's army moved away just in time. I see forces in Apulia being raised. Curious as to what that's all about. Twist and turn of fate have not always been to my advantage. Oh, Lancelin's dead. Good. Didn't really like Lancelin. We defeated him in that duel, and he never forgave us. I think he died in this battle. So sad. There we go, crushing Bartholomew's army once more, and then we move in to take on the last few men that Jonathan has. There we go, and we've captured quite a few. We've captured our nephew, Jonathan. Well, you're gonna be in prison for now. We're basically just chasing them down, trying to rid themselves of any armies. We could attempt to siege down their lands here, but the county of Napoli has a strong garrison. Our troops would not be enough to lay siege here. I think we're going to just wipe out their armies, and then we'll deal with the situation from that point onwards. So yeah, there we go. One more time, engaging in battle with Theocharistos. And, he might consider himself to be a brilliant strategist, but he hasn't been proving itself here. Not exactly sure who got injured or maimed just now, but I'm sure it was one of the enemy. Yeah, there we go. And now we can move into Capua here. I wonder, we definitely can't siege Napoli, but we can siege Capua. Perhaps if we are able to take down Capua, it might be enough to convince Bartholomew to give up this futile fight. So why don't we just let that play out, the siege of Capua. And there we go. We have taken Capua and captured most of Jonathan's family. And I think with that, even though he managed to go free, perhaps he's in Napoli with our brother, I think that he is now convincing Bartholomew to basically surrender. But we're not going to issue those demands yet. We are going to move in here. And just here, right at that last moment before our forces engage, just to make sure that they understand the situation that they're in, we're going to, the day before the battle is set to begin, we are going to have our messenger bring word to Count Bartholomew. And we are going to say, if you do not accept our demands, this battle will be fought, and it will be lost by you, and the punishment will be much more severe. Surrender now, and maybe we will have some leniency. And I think he understands his position. Let us enforce our demands. Jonathan and Bartholomew have been imprisoned. We can disband our troops, and we can consider what to do with this situation. Both of our brothers are imprisoned, and we will be dealing with Bartholomew first. So he was the one who led this whole thing. He convinced Jonathan to somehow go along with it. We are a vengeful man, and I think that we will not look kindly to this. So what are our options? Well, we can force him to renounce his claims. We can banish him, get a weak hook. But I think number one, we are going to revoke his title to the county of Napoli. He does not deserve to rule in these lands anymore. He claimed to be the rightful ruler of Capua. He is not the rightful ruler of anything anymore. He is still in the prison, though, which means that we can still negotiate his release. And I think we will demand that he renounce all of his claims on all of the lands here in the Duchy of Capua. We won't kill him. We are not a kinslayer, but this seems like a just punishment for what he did. Then there's Jonathan. Oh, Jonathan. How could you have gone so astray? Well, we do have his wife here in house arrest. We are just going to release her. She didn't really have anything to do with this. Obviously, we're going to do the same with young Rosalind. No questions there. What about Jonathan here? His eldest son. I think we may keep Jonathan Jr. here in our court, kind of as a hostage. I think that seems like a good option for Jonathan, so we will have a hostage over our brother. As for Jonathan himself, I think all we will ask of him, because he was manipulated by Bartholomew, and like I mentioned, we fought alongside Jonathan for years. We fought alongside as brothers in arms. And this one time he went astray, he went against us, but we are vengeful, but we're also temperate, and we are not without some level of forgiveness. So I think we're going to tell Jonathan, he's going to renounce his claims on the Duchy of Capua, Napoli, Salerno. But that is all we will be asking of him. What will happen with our younger brother here? Well, I'm not sure. He's probably going to leave the realm. He is ambitious, but he has no reason to claim our lands anymore, so we'll see where he ends up. Well, let's throw a pin over here in Jonathan as well. So we need to attend to our realm. We do have some open council positions. Do we allow Jonathan to take his position back as the Chancellor? That's a good question. I think we will give Jonathan one last chance. He convinced Bartholomew to surrender. And even though he went against us once, the love that we have towards Jonathan, the camaraderie that we have towards him, I think sways us towards allowing him this one last chance, with the understanding that this isn't a 3-strike scenario. This is your last chance, Jonathan, and if you screw this up, things will not be going very well for you. As for the steward, I believe that young Richard will be a perfect person for that. We will also be having our marshal increase control here in Napoli now that it is in our direct control. And that should manage that. Now, in case you were curious, while that was going on, I did find out what was happening over here, and Duke Roger has been attacked once more by Duchess Matilda of Tuscany, and they are currently fighting once again over the county of Lanciano. Now, I imagine that Duke Roger here is wishing that he had accepted our alliance offer earlier, but unfortunately he did not, so that's too bad for him. Good luck with your war there, Duke Roger. The Vision of Chi Ro. I wonder. So I did actually add a new mod. I believe it is called the Very Immersive Events and Traits. Something like that. It's called VIET, or VIET. And it's supposed to add a bunch of really cool new events and stuff like that, which I thought would be perfect for this roleplay series. So I wonder if this is one of those. While studying the tactics of ancient generals, I was inspired when I learned about Constantine's victory at the Battle of Milvian Bridge. The night before the battle, Constantine dreamed that victory would be granted if he painted Chi Ro, a symbol of Christ, on his soldiers' shields. He did exactly that, and the next day he overran the forces of the usurper Maxentius, who fell into the Tiber River and drowned. We could get the Holy Warrior trait. Doesn't really make sense because we are cynical. We could get the Forder trait. Crosses rivers and straits without the advantage penalty. We already have that. Or we could get the Flexible Leader trait. Enemy defensive advantage. Or just nothing. Well, I think Flexible Leader seems like a good option here. Especially since we are going on the offense a lot. Oh, let's see here. Oh, dear. Oh, poor Duke Roger. You, doesn't look like you're going to be winning this war. Is he engaged in the battle here himself? He is. I wonder what's going to happen. Too bad we can't watch the details of it all. But as you can see, things are not going well for Duke Roger. Oh, hold on. Your cousin Duke Roger was taken prisoner by Duchess Matilda. Oh man, Duchess Matilda is badass. Honestly, she is extremely badass. Full credit to her. She just crushed him and took over Lanciano. Well done, Matilda. It's a little bit worrying, but that's the way it goes. Someone in the comments did mention that it's possible that that this county here, Benevento, was part of our lands, but no, this is part of the Duchy of Benevento, which is these counties here. So no, that is not part of us. And I don't really think, even though we're cynical, I'm not entirely sure it would make sense to attack the papal lands at the moment, especially without like a really good reason. Unless, think about it in these terms, back in these times, the Pope was like a very powerful authority, at least usually they were. And, as a Christian ruler attacking papal lands, like you probably wanted to have a pretty decent reason of doing that. And if the Pope is like a reasonably strong and well-respected Pope, I think it would be hard to justify. But these aren't actually part of our de jure lands in any case. Oh dear, our cousin and Counselor Richard died of typhus. Ouch. Camp fever, rashes, fever, coughs. That's a rough way to go. Not pleasant. That was our cousin, which is sad, but also our steward, which is pretty rough. Oh wow, look, Mayor Gerard is really damn good at Marshall. We could put him in charge of the army. Robert is a drunk. I wonder, do we know of this? Do we know that Robert has an alcohol problem? I mean, we probably do, right? He really he's got the look. I think we might say, Robert, you haven't really been doing good enough. And Mayor Gerard here seems to have the skills necessary to get the job done. So we're going to put Mayor Gerard here in charge. But we still need a steward. And who is the best option? Don't have a ton of good ones. Yuan's. Not really sure we want to put a Lombard in charge. You know what? He's not super good at it. But and somebody mentioned this too, right? Asking or suggesting that, it might have been possible that Jonathan was actually our heir. And I was unsure. I was like, are we actually in male only rules? But no, we aren't just in male preference. So Fred Ascenda is our heir. And you made a good point. Like, would Duke Jordan be a little bothered by the fact that he hasn't produced a male heir by this point? Possibly, right? Like back in these times, yeah, he probably would have wanted a male heir. But would he divorce his wife over this? It certainly would have happened, right? It certainly would have happened back in those times. If your wife didn't produce you a male heir, that might be grounds for divorce, even though divorce wasn't just something that you could do, willy-nilly like you can do nowadays. No, it was a little bit more complicated than that. But I don't think that we would in any case. We don't love our wife. Well, I mean, we love our wife, but we're not like technically lovers here, but like we have a very high opinion of each other. I don't think we would divorce her for this. And honestly, Fred Ascenda takes after her father. She's kind of a badass, vengeful, cynical, temperate. She basically takes after her father. Remember in those previous episodes where Fred Ascenda was like following us around? She was just a little kid following Duke Jordan around, trying to sneak into all the war meetings and trying to learn how to be a knight like our father, even though she obviously wouldn't be allowed to be. I don't know. I think Duke Jordan, even though he probably wants a male heir, I think that he, has a lot of respect for Fred Ascenda, and I think that he would believe that if You know, if he doesn't have a male heir, that Fredesenda will still be a good heir. And she does have a son, Tancred, here. And her husband, Gilbert LeBlanc, is a good knight, a good man. And the two of them would rule fairly well. So I don't think he's bothered by the fact that he doesn't have a male heir, or he's not overly bothered by it. Not enough that he would divorce his wife to try to have a male heir. During that whole time, though, we didn't pick our steward. Let's pick Gilbert. Get him some practice with ruling and matters such as that. The true enemy of every soldier is complacency. My knight Brisene? Not sure how to pronounce that. Says before paying close attention. We are standing side by side up on my castle's walls, looking down on the soldiers conducting drills below. We could exchange the castle's gate for planks of wood and dull the arrows in the troops' quivers, he continues. Lead the soldiers in a mock charge against the castle and see how well they do in action. Good idea. You should lead the defenders, or our time is better spent improving defenses. We could gain a martial lifestyle perk. We got a Gaelic knight in our court. Interesting. Not sure how he showed up here, but yeah, let's try that. Let's give it a try. Under siege, first charge. A tightly shut gate and walls that loom high into the sky. Archers can be seen as shadows moving behind the battlements, and a feeling of genuine excitement permeates the air. In the lull before battle, I turn and address the soldiers. My orders ring out loud and clear across the field. Go through the sewers! Charge the main gates or bring out the ladders. I mean, we did just learn this new trait, Flexible Leader. Go through the sewers. It's not the most glorious way of attacking, but hey, Duke Jordan, you know better than me. The stairwell echoes as another dulled weapon bounces off the middle pillar. For the second time in a matter of minutes, I curse the tight spiral that blocks us from swinging our weapons at the defenders. The heaving breath of the soldiers around me is deafening, and every repelled attack, they grow more resigned and frustrated. I have to take charge of the situation. Don't let up, we will overwhelm them. One at a time, stay alert, or behind me, I will protect you. Well, we are... Oh, this is going to give us critical stress? Well, that's too bad, but I think it makes a lot of sense. We are the bravest knight of all the Norman knights in the land. So we're going to lead them up first. Mental break, wanton desires. We're having some lascivious thoughts. I don't think we're going to go reclusive. I don't think we're going to turn to Policanism. I think we'll just tank the stress in this case. Try to fix it later. Taking the final step onto the walls surrounding the castle, I survey the scene. Many soldiers may have been lost to the archers on the walls, but we will not be deterred. One after another, we overwhelm the defenders and stand victorious over the fallen. I take a deep breath, and then it is time to press on again. We are winning, but there is no room for mistakes. Everyone with me, archers take up your position, hit them hard, show no mercy. It's active tyranny. I think we're going to take this martial challenge. We're going to lead everyone ourselves. We quickly level Briquen's forces. The castle is ours. Among the celebrating soldiers, I find Briquen, who congratulates me on the charge well led. Look at them, my lord. The change of pace did them good. Even you seem reinvigorated, even though your castle was just lost to attackers. Our enemies will never stand a chance. There we go. Improved defenses and a new lifestyle perk. That's interesting. A Peasant Faction. Oh, you dear poor fools. Don't you know what happened with the last rebellion? I mean, raise your arms if you must, but it's not going to go well for you. No, it will not. Especially not after our soldiers have just been practicing by leading that mock battle. Yeah, our soldiers are like rip-roaring and raring to go here. Got another martial perk already. Chivalric dominance, knight effectiveness. I'll take it. Our badass Norman knights will be even more badass. End of life rally. An acquaintance of mine was on his deathbed, unconscious and unresponsive for days. His family had gathered around him to pray and prepare his soul for the afterlife when all of a sudden he sat up, alert and sharp. His family was relieved and tried to talk to him, thinking he had recovered somehow, yet he just kept asking me to come visit. I hastened to come to his bedside to witness this miracle. I wonder why he wanted to see me. When I arrived at his house and entered his bedroom, he clapped with joy and beckoned me to sit next to him. He inquired about various matters of state and provided me advice, claiming it was given to him by the wise spirits of the deceased. We humored him for an hour or so until he said he was tired and bid all farewell. The moment he closed his eyes, he passed away. Strangely, his advice turned out to be quite helpful. Interesting. We are cynical, but this was quite a strange event. I wonder, I think because we're cynical, I think we would just say, that it was just, a moment of clarity before he passed, but yeah, quite strange. Oh no, Bishop Orderic has died. Wow, Orderic, he lived to a ripe old age of 60 and passed away. He was our friend. He was a good man. Who is our new bishop? Bishop Rayner. Oh dear, you don't look like quite the good sort. 25 years old. He's got a... Look at the look on his face there. I'm already not a fan of him. Gluttonous, callous, generous. Not a good combination for a bishop. He's not even really that well learned. I don't think we're going to be listening to this evil lackey too much. To the cold-hearted Duke Jordan. We have been burdened with your oppressive laws for far too long. No more. We are done paying you taxes. Once your coffers dry up and your larders are empty, you will wish you had treated us more fairly. Leader Valenti, when your men lay dead around you, and when you find yourself as my prisoner, ready to hang for the crimes you've committed, you will wish you had stayed on your farm and not risen up against me. Never. A peasant's lot is to serve their lord. Rally the troops. And that is where we're going to end today's episode. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I, once again, really appreciate all the support you've given to the channel. I'm excited to continue the story of Duke Jordan and continue producing more content for you guys. So if you enjoyed the episode, leave a like, subscribe if you so choose so you can continue to see more episodes when they come up. Until the next time, guys, I've been Stray. You guys have all been absolutely wonderful. Have a good night, and we shall see you all real soon.